Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me directly for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing an all-time great, one of the first four watches launched by the modern Lange Sohne back in 1994. This is the Lange 1. 38.5 millimeters in rose gold with a nickel anthracite dial. The timepiece is 10.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 47.4 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We zoom out, we throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and this watch wears beautifully. Yes, there are Grand Lange models that are bigger versions of the Lange 1. This watch is perfect, though, for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, maybe even 13 if your wrist is more oval than round. It's a wonderful fit. Thin with a domed bezel, it slides easily underneath the cuff, and you can see down the barrel, it's nowhere near, the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. You can see the same from over the top. The strap is medium scale alligator leather. It's a dark brown with a semi-gloss finish. You can see it's got a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and then on the bottom it's matching brown calfskin. You can also see this is a brand new Lange Sohne factory strap, not crimped, not gouged, well preserved, and it comes with a Lange rose gold pin buckle. You can see the form with a little bit of faceting on the outer face. The genius of this buckle is mostly internal. As you can see, it features an elevated bridge, so the two prongs, and then the bridge is elevated over them so that the strap sits inside rather than stacking up with height when it's on the wrist. You also have this little retaining bar. So if, like me, you have a small wrist and you're going to use the smallest hole or maybe even punch one or two more holes, you know that sometimes when you strap a watch down tightly on a small wrist, it can get stuck there. So this little retaining bar prevents the strap from getting pinned on the pin. That's its purpose. Easier extrication from your wrist when the time comes to take it off. The lugs are stepped out from the case band. This is a very familiar Lange case trope. Almost every Lange watch uses this design with differing proportions and different finish. Here the finish is all high polish externally. We have the pusher adjuster that allows you to cycle through the panorama datum or the outsized date. And then we have a Lange branded crown on the other side. The watch includes hacking or stop seconds and a lovely arrangement of different features. You have the hours and minutes, you have the small seconds, you have the outsized date, you have indices, numerals, hands, and date frame in rose gold, and then this lovely sort of opaline matte light satin finished nickel anthracite coating. We have a power reserve indicator tracing 3 days of power reserve, and a note we have 2 power reserve sources, double mainspring barrels. Flip it all over and we have the movement, the 901, and we'll talk about what that means, that was born with the Lange 1. So 90 is the year work started on the movement. That was the year the reborn Lange Sohne was refounded by family scion Walter Lange. And so 90 was the year work started on the movement. 1 means this was the first movement started that year, and then .0 means this is the first version of this movement. So we have 2 mainspring barrels, hacking seconds, we have the outsized date with the push button jumper. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, pivots on 53 joules. It's adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. You can see the case says CO, which means Centror, a Swiss case maker owned by Richemont, made this case, and that's why this German watch features a Swiss hallmark on it. And you'll also appreciate that the form of the watch, protected down to 30 meters from water, is that of a vintage Lange pocket watch. So we have this enormous 3/4 bridge. We have pivot jewels set in golden chaton, fixed in place by fired blue screws. We also have black polished screws. The watch includes both. This 3/4 plate features a few beautifully mirror beveled edges. The same true on the balance cock, which you could see is freehand engraved, again a vintage style. A black polished cap to the escape wheel, as well as the swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism. And the chaton, there's a reason for them. Back in the pocket watch era, a precision fitting of jewels directly into bridges and plates was not really possible in all cases, so a precision chaton would be made of gold, the jewel would be set in the chaton, and the chaton would then be fixed to the bridge or plate using the screws. In the modern era, it just makes the movement more beautiful. You can also see the use of a golden material, sometimes called German silver. It's a nickel, copper, zinc alloy that would have been used on pocket watches. It's unplated, so unlike silvered, rhodium-plated Swiss brass, this is the natural color of the metal, and the copper will cause it to have that golden tone and then get darker with time. Finally, we have an engine-turning perlage on the base plate and satination on all of the wheels. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.